Hello, Red Hatters, and welcome to the end of the year 2022 ACS Roadmap Update. I'm a product marketing manager, Michael Foster, here with you. Today, we're going to be joined by all of the ACS PMs as they discuss what's coming up in 2023, as well as cloud service and various other topics. If you look at the agenda, you can see all of the topics outlined along with their timestamps if you want to skip to the individual topic. Now, before we get started, let's talk resources first. The ACS G Chat is probably the best location to get quick and accurate responses from essays to PMs. There is the RHACS-PM at redhat.com for PM-specific questions. And of course, there is a Slack channel forum ACS as well. Now, if you're looking for individual resources, documents, data sheets, and things like that, the ACS One Stop is going to be the location for you to go. We will be continuously updating this. And if it's not there, please reach out to us and let us know how we can help. Now, let's kick off this roadmap by outlining the key priorities that we will be talking about today. There are four main pillars that the PMs want to focus on. The first is security innovation, keeping that Kubernetes security lead. The second is cloud services, the launch of ACS Cloud Service in 2023. The third, portfolio integration, integrating with Red Hat's existing products. And then the fourth is the open source community and the StackRox project, keeping that alive and well and accepting contributions upstream. Now, without further ado, I'm going to hand it off to Shubha Badve, who's going to kick off the security innovation part of this roadmap.
Thank you, Mike. Hello, everyone. My name is Shubha Badve. I'm one of the product managers for Red Hat Advanced Cluster Security for Kubernetes. Today, I'm going to review what's next for vulnerability management in ACS for 2023 and beyond. Vulnerability management remains a crucial and an integral part of DevSecOps. Detecting vulnerabilities and remediating them is not a one and done process. It's a continuous process. With ACS, our goal is to provide our customers as much information as possible about detected vulnerabilities so they can effectively prioritize and ultimately remediate these vulnerabilities. On the roadmap, we have two enhancements which will do exactly that. One, for each detected vulnerability, we will be able to highlight those vulnerabilities which are publicly known to have exploit code or in fact have been exploited. Secondly, for vulnerabilities detected specifically in Red Hat images, we will be able to provide you a granular status, such as will not fix, fix deferred, etc., in addition to fixable or not fixable status. We will also be enhancing the vulnerability management workflows such that you can get to the vulnerability details that will assist real remediation with just few clicks. We have heard it loud and clear from our customer base that our customers are looking for a detailed downloadable vulnerability report that they can use for sharing information and ultimately for remediating those detected vulnerabilities. We have also heard that our customers, such as yourself, are looking for this report in multiple different formats, such as PDF, CSV, or even JSON. We have added that to our roadmap for this year. We are also enhancing the feature set for ACS in the vulnerability management area. We are adding host vulnerability scanning to ACS to provide a consolidated view of known vulnerabilities for your fleet of clusters. As part of this feature, we are planning to extend the vulnerability scanning support to scan the node operating system, starting with Red Hat Enterprise Linux Core OS, also known as RHACS. We will continue the scanner consolidation work that we started mid of this year. Scanner consolidation aims to ensure that all Red Hat products that use Clear Scanner today will use the same version, the exact same version of Clear, and will consume the same security data to produce consistent and accurate scan results across the board. The Red Hat products that use Clear Scanner today are ACS, Red Hat Quay, and the Red Hat Ecosystem Container Catalog. In recent months, it has become evident that software supply chain security is becoming very critical for our customers. We have two features on the roadmap which will make it easy for you, our customers, to include some of those security gates in your software supply chain to make it more secure. The first feature is aimed at empowering developers in your organizations to scan container images on their desktops by using a centrally running instance of ACS, either using CLI or as part of developers IDE. This is so that detected vulnerabilities can be remediated before they are pushed to the registry for deployment in production environments. We also plan to add a feature to ACS that will allow you to import software bill of material for your software or application in ACS, map to known vulnerabilities, and export those results. As you know, software bill of materials, also known as SBOM, provide a formal record containing the details and relationships of various components used in a specific software package or application. Generating an SBOM is only part of the story. Once an SBOM is generated, it is important to map those components to known vulnerabilities to evaluate how secure the software is that's coming in your supply chain as well as out of your supply chain. And that's all I have for you today, handing off to Boaz. Thank you.
Thank you, Shubha. I'm Boaz Michaely, another product manager on the Security Pillar PM team. We introduced a new security dashboard with release 371 earlier this year, and we're planning to enhance it in two major directions. First, we're planning to add historical metrics, which will allow users to study key performance metrics over time and learn about how different teams in your organization are doing. For example, security teams want to understand the number of critical and important vulnerabilities they have and the time it takes different groups to address them so they can identify specific areas for improvement. Secondly, we plan to add risk indicator widgets to help you focus on areas that require immediate attention. Risk indicators may be based on any policy by selecting a threshold of its violations. For example, consider the percent of deployments in the cluster that are using images which have not been updated for the last 90 days. Or the percent of deployments that have no network policies. You may start the threshold low and raise it as your organization matures. Risk indicators may show as red-green or have multiple levels, but the idea is to be able to identify within 2 to 3 seconds what's going on. In addition, we plan to offer more ways to personalize the dashboard and be able to save views or filters. We're always eager to hear your feedback. Please tell us what you would like to see implemented here. We have big plans for policy and risk management. First, we want to make it easier to customize and apply policies at scale, and for that, we're introducing a powerful new concept of collections. A collection of deployments represents an area in your infrastructure which has different needs for policies. For example, deployments owned by dev may need a less restrictive policy than prod. You can group deployments using a combination of label selectors, namespace IDs, and entire clusters. You would define a collection once and then use it in multiple policies for inclusion and exclusion rules. The collection is a dynamic reference. So when a new deployment starts running using a given label or is added to a namespace, it is automatically reflected in all respective policies, so you don't have to manually update those policies. Collections will actually be used elsewhere in the product. As an example, the vulnerability report feature, which currently uses access scopes, will be updated to use collections. Secondly, we plan to enhance our risk model, making it easier for users to understand and modify the model to reflect individual risk preferences. Thirdly, The number of ACS policies shipping out of the box has grown significantly, and so has customer adoption, meaning users have a larger number of policies to manage. We plan to introduce a more consistent use of customizable policy categories to make it easier to organize policies. Further, and maybe more importantly, we will try to streamline the violations view with the policy management view in order to simplify policy operations. Lastly, we want to make it easier to handle ACS policies as code, to support a GitOps approach, and to use ACS in an environment where an OPA gatekeeper or Kyverno are used. The last subject I'll cover is a shift-left approach for network policies. Kubernetes by default does not restrict pod-to-pod communication across the cluster, which means that deployments are more exposed to risks such as unauthorized access, lateral movement, data leakage, denial of service attacks. The mechanism to isolate pod communication in Kubernetes is network policies, which, as many of you know, is hard to implement and lacks tooling. ACS can already help in several ways. We recently introduced a system policy to flag deployments that are missing network policies altogether. ACS also helps you author network policies. It observes the network flows across your cluster, allowing you to establish a healthy baseline and to generate Kubernetes network policies that restrict incoming traffic to match that baseline. In the future, we are also planning to expand the ACS system policies with networking rules, as Maria will discuss shortly. Now, the ACS baseline is a great way to get started with network policies, and we highly recommend looking into it if you haven't yet. But what if there was a way to automatically generate these network policies during the development phase so that they would be correctly isolated upon deployment? The good news, as you're guessing, is that there is a way, and we are introducing this functionality into ACS. The technology is based on an integration with an IBM research project called npguard. It analyzes Kubernetes YAML files, including deployment manifests, config maps, service manifests, and then it generates Kubernetes network policies that restrict traffic to the absolute minimum required. This feature is planned for tech preview in ACS 373, which is most likely already released by the time you're watching this recording. On our roadmap, we plan to add a validation check that generated policies comply with the ACS policy, and where possible to enrich the network policy that is generated by applying rules from the ACS policy. We urge you to try this feature out and provide feedback to help us shape our roadmap. Over to you, Maria.
Thank you very much, Boaz. I'm going to walk you through the runtime and networking vision we have for 2023 and beyond. ACS networking policies will help organizations define and govern their Kubernetes networking security requirements and restrictions. Let's say, for example, an organization may want to restrict which applications are allowed to send egress traffic over SNTP. Now this will be possible with the ACS networking system policies. And they can do this with a more flexible language than Kubernetes networking policies themselves. ACS will provide alerts when this policy is violated, pointing to the specific offending application so that it can be remediated. These alerts will also be highlighted in the network graph visualization tool. As part of ACS networking baseline feature, ACS will recommend Kubernetes networking policies that take into consideration the already defined ACS policy restrictions. They can also be combined with the shift-left synthesis that Boaz just talked about, allowing the SREs and security teams to set up the right policies prior to deployment. We are also investing in improvements to the network graph. First, we are upgrading network graph visual experience with Patternfly to offer a familiar user experience for OpenShift users. In addition, we want to make it easy to navigate when we have large-scale deployments. The new design allows the user to focus on specific namespaces or objects they are interested in, providing a much smoother experience that highlights what matters. Our intention is to bring a summarized view to the user where they can quickly identify problem areas and drill down to isolate and remediate issues. The new view would also highlight extraneous traffic to emphasize areas where the user can tighten application isolation. In addition, we will list all network policies defined in the namespace, making it easy to evaluate what's configured and what's missing for the user. For customers with several secure clusters, we will enhance the product to provide information about intra-cluster communication. We will also enhance the journey for a user focused on detection and response. Forensic investigation require investigating historic data in addition to runtime and correlated networking data with process information. For this reason, we will provide networking and process data in one view, combining processes, listening reports. This information will be correlated for the user. We will also allow the user to switch between current view and historic view smoothly, making it much easier for investigative purposes.
Thank you, Maria, for a great presentation. My name is Doron Caspin, and I am part of the ACS PM team and responsible for compliance in the ACS Cloud Service. First, let's talk about compliance. Next year, we want to focus on improving ACS compliance capabilities by integrating ACS and Compliance Operator. The Compliance Operator let administrator describe the required compliance state based on available compliance profiles. We expand in Compliance Operator that run today only on OpenShift to run on any XKS platform, starting with EKS, and you will provide a profile for CIS benchmark on EKS. In addition, we will deliver a new compliance experience that include a seamless user experience combining Compliance Operator and ACS. Customer will configure, schedule, and run infrastructure scan directly from ACS, review, remediate, and export compliance scan result from ACS dashboard, and build a tailored profile. Now let's move to cloud service. In December 2022, we will launching a field trial for ACS Cloud Service. Customer will be able to join the program for free and enjoy an early access to the service, and also provide feedback directly to the development team before the product launch in 2023. ACS Cloud Service will provide faster time to value by deploying ACS in minutes and quickly scale as needed across cloud and geography, enabling you to focus on securing your application, not managing infrastructure. We will provide fully ACS Cloud, ACS Central that will be available in minutes, what will increase the DevSecOps productivity and simplify deployment process with proactive management from expert SRE team, and will allow ACS user to focus on securing their Kubernetes deployment. We will provide the ACS Cloud Service will reduce the complexity by providing full managed ACS throughout the stack with 24/7 expert SRE support and industry-leading SLA. And we will also provide hybrid cloud flexibility by delivering consistent experience across the cloud, giving you the choice of easy to use to choose and offering that best fit your needs. We are introducing, as I said before, the service preview or field trial of Red Hat ACS target to December. With ACS Cloud Services, you will get all the benefits of Red Hat Advanced Cluster Security for Kubernetes, like vulnerability management, compliance assessment, for technical control from security and regulatory framework, out-of-the-box security policy that you can apply and build, deploy and runtime, contextual risk analysis, and runtime threat detection and response. ACS Cloud Service will provide consumption-based pricing with 24/7 support, as well as the ability to use your committed spend to purchase ACS on Red Hat Marketplace, AWS Marketplace, and Azure Marketplace in the future. The field trial will be available only on AWS and not for production use. Please reach out to Red Hat account team if you're interested. Thank you very much, and see you next time.
Hi, my name is Anjali, and I will be presenting our roadmap for OPP integrations. We are increasingly aware of the need for customers to manage their fleets of clusters across both on-premise as well as cloud distributions, and hence we bring OpenShift Platform Plus with the ability to manage your clusters and secure them. Let's review at some of our feature offerings that enable this. Single pane of glass, which will bring centralized management and a unified dashboard for both ACS and ACM. Fine-grained RBAC enhancements that include declarative format for RBAC, which will support GitOps scenarios and ease of integration with other products. Options to map RBAC from OpenShift and other Kubernetes distributions to the ACS RBAC. And fine-grained RBAC that can support more advanced RBAC workflows with admission and mutating webhooks. As Doron has already elaborated before, we continue to support compliance operator on Kubernetes distributions such as EKS, build tailored profiles, run infrastructure scans from ACS, and review, remediate, and export compliance scans from ACS. Lastly, we continue to support ACS on OpenShift across various platforms such as IBM Z and Power, ARM, IBM Cloud, Hosted Control Plane, FIPS Mode, and Developer Sandbox. Thank you.
Thank you, Anjali. Now let's talk about the various open source projects we are involved in. Next slide, please. StackRox is the upstream open source project for ACS. It is an open solution for Kubernetes security. We welcome your support and contribution to this project. KubeLinter is an open source project that lets you analyze Kubernetes YAML files and Helm charts. It checks against a variety of best practices with focus on security and production readiness. We would like to expand the scope of KubeLinter to scan operators as well. Claire is an open source project for the static analysis of vulnerabilities. As I mentioned earlier, Claire is the scanner that's used in ACS as well as Red Hat Quay. Both product teams contribute to this project and will continue to do so. Falco is CNCF open source project for cloud native runtime security. We continue to make contributions to Falco from the ACS code base. And that's all we have for you today in today's What's Next for ACS edition. See you next time. Thank you.